Hello, everybody, and welcome to podcast number 76 of The Real Estate Show. It is so good to be back with you. I'm Cherise, and with me is the retired, but not expired, nor is he electrocuted for life, Bill McAfee.
Thank you, Cherise. I appreciate that.
You have to explain this one.
All right. Well, I have a ranch that we work on a lot, and so we were working on it the other day when I was working with my hired hand. I'm not sure if he really wants me around or not sometimes. So we're working on this piece of equipment, and we had a transformer that wasn't working, so it was sending electricity through this pivot. It's called a pivot. It's a big sprinkler. And so I'm leaning down across this piece of metal on there.
Wait, you're laying shocked. On the metal.
Like I put my forearm up across there because I had a wrench inside. And man, it let me, it's like if you got like hit really hard on your funny bone, right? It like, whoa. And so I told Johnny, I said, Johnny, man, this thing there's a volt there's electricity coming through here.
Wow.
And so Johnny, he's so funny. He's like, no, there's not. So we go to his truck and get an ohm meter, and it was like 120 volts.
Coming into your body.
Which would be like what would come out of a light socket. So
I think this was the last person who got electrocuted. See these hands here. My goodness, Bill.
Yeah. So I'm doing much better.
I mean,
I'm doing much better.
They call you a live wire.
I'm doing much better.
They call you a live wire, but now I know why.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of years. I've tracked all your energy. Nobody can keep up, but we know why, everybody.
Yeah. Well, when I was young, we used to have electric fences.
Okay.
That are single wire. That many times I got tangled up in those.
We don't want to know why, though.
Yeah, no, you don't. So we had motorcycles, let's put it that way.
Okay,
so
all right.
I ran through more than one. So
that sounds innocent enough, though.
It was.
I mean, you have to do something out there.
Yeah.
Way out in the boonies.
We had to.
And then bringing it from the boonies back into the city. Like,
absolutely.
Here I am, not knowing the difference between a farm and a ranch, and you're with me today on this podcast show.
On the last show, I talked about this a little bit. We were ranchers when I was growing up. We would, we'd have cows. They would give birth to calves in the early spring. We would feed them through the summer and into the fall, and then sell them.
Wow.
One interesting thing that I'm going to throw out: when you live that kind of lifestyle, if you take away the time it took to like haul the cattle, get them all and put them in the chutes, if you took that away just in the time in the sale barn, literally at the end of a year, you would, within a couple hours is what it would be while those cows were you would know what you made, what you had to go forward.
Wow.
And so that is agricultural, and that is, that's like, I'm a huge saver.
Right.
And I really believe a part of that for me was growing up that way.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, when you live through the agriculture, that stuff happens. And, my dad and I had talked about that before he passed.
Wow.
You would spend, literally it's a couple hours that they're actually in the sale ring.
Huh.
And you would know how you did.
Right.
And what you had to go
and
forward
if you could
with.
survive for the winter.
Yes. Yeah.
Or if you had to take a motorcycle and jump through
an electric fence. Well, wow. Now your group is probably going to hate me for this, but the land I grew up on was so flat that we rode motorcycles to get cows in. It was so much faster.
Wow.
Like you couldn't even get a horse and get it saddled by the time you could get out and get them in. And then the other positive thing, if you fall off a motorcycle, it doesn't run back to the barn. And you don't have to feed it in a blizzard.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So really, that's fun. Now they do it all on four-wheelers.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we used to ride it. We went one time and our cattle had never seen us on a horse. And so we had rented some land like 6 miles down a county road. Everybody thought it'd be fun to have a good old-fashioned cattle drive. And so we went out there, and they had never seen a man on a horse, and they stampeded.
I was going to say, there's nothing old-fashioned about a motorcycle to a cattle.
No, but because we rode up from the time the calves were born. They were used to motorcycles.
Wow.
They'd never seen a man on a horse.
Oh.
So they stampeded because we were riding horses. It freaked them out.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So they preferred the motorcycle.
Yeah, because that's what they were used to. And my grandpa, who had been, alive at that point a long time, he was able to just get in front of the herd and get them slowed down.
Okay, wait. I'm seeing there's another metaphor coming up about real estate and all of this, because we've been in a motorcycle market previously.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And everybody's used to it.
Yep.
And then we have to slow down. People are on their horses horses. There's a beauty to a change because it requires a little bit more skill, right? But then the horse can be skittish and run back to the barn. That's what buyers are doing right now. They're like freaking out, going back to the barn. Sellers are like, but I redid my barn. I want double for the price of my barn.
It's a good barn.
So there is a lot of things going on right now that correspond to your childhood, Bill. I guess we're just doing childhood therapy talks.
I don't know. Believe me, we don't have that much time.
But what I do love is you pay all of your life experience, your diligence, and all of this passion that you have, and you honed it into real estate over these years. You've put a huge run into the market. You've made a huge contribution to our industry. And it would not be the same in this city without what you have done for all of us collectively in this industry.
That's kind of you to say that.
And I mean that. But it's been so fun, and we're not done, but it's just been so fun to be in process with you for so many years.
Well, and Cherise, I want to talk about this too. Like you've talked about the cancer, that you're dealing with. And I can tell everybody out there, one of the things that I've never had cancer, but I know a lot of people who have. And they almost tell me like that when you first hear that, it like just shuts you down.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why I truly believe that you're going to be absolutely fine is your attitude and your faith. And it's scary when you go through it. And you and I have talked, and it's your amazing attitude and your faith that is going to get you through this. And that's why the people love you. That's what makes you. And so you're very good at real estate, but you're much better at God. And I just think I've always respected and admired you. We've worked on a lot of boards together.
Yeah.
I've seen you pour out your heart to people that your clients don't even see. I've seen you get houses for people that couldn't get houses, who didn't have a place to stay. You put yourself on the line to do that. And that's why you should work with you. Are you a great real estate agent? Yes, but you're even a better person. So you're going to make it through this. And
I'm not going to make it through this podcast show. I'm going to cry.
There's no crying in podcasts.
I'm going to blubber. Bill, thank you. Because one of the things that I'm learning through this journey, and I've said it on our other podcast show, the Gordon and Cherise show, and people can actually follow the whole journey if they want to on that podcast show. This is our real estate podcast show, but it does tie together. And the thing that really ties together, and you're a part of this, is that we heal in community. And you have to choose the right community.
Absolutely.
Right? One that's going to stand with you. But I am so fortunate. I could not be as far along in this process without the love, the friendships, the prayers, the faith, and just the fact that, yes, I feel very vulnerable through this, but I also feel so supported. I feel loved. And I believe this is just the beginning of a beautiful story about overcoming, just like so many people have their stories.
Yep.
And I'm growing in mine in this realm.
Absolutely.
And I believe cancer is not the end, but it shows there's something called mortality motivation. So, I mean, we're kind of told, I read different scriptures that talk about like, teach me to number my days so that I can gain a heart of wisdom.
Right.
And so I think in my life, it just makes me want to go even further into the causes that you and you talked about earlier. It makes me want to love people more. Yep. Because that's the only mark in this life that we can leave.
Absolutely.
At the end is love.
Absolutely.
Have we loved people well?
Yep.
And how does love translate into interest rates being over 7% right now? Let's get back to
I don't feel the love as much.
I don't know that there's a lot of love with them continuously increasing.
Yeah.
And this time last year, interest rates were right at 6%.
Yeah. It's, we're likely to see them push a little bit more based on what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. But again, you can't stop. You just got to keep moving, figure out ways, to make it happen. I always It's an old football metaphor, but just keep your head down and keep your legs moving. You know, and that's what we're going to do.
Especially if you're wearing shorts.
That's true.
On the other side of this table. You have a lot more ability to move.
And they're pretty scratched up from working out on the ranch with the shorts on.
I love it. So, Bill, share a little bit more about inventory.
Gotcha. One of the things that I look at is it's called inventory levels. And the thing that inventory levels do is I'll go back 12 months and I'll average the sales that have happened over the last 12 months to see how many sales we're averaging each month.
Okay.
Then I take how many listings we have standing right now that's available for sale, and I see how long it would take to sell all of them. Mm-hmm. So in a normal market, we should have about 4.5 to 5.5 months is typically what it would take us to sell everything in the MLS.
Okay.
When a year or so ago, we got down to a time that we would sell off the entire MLS in 9 days.
Oh, wow.
That's how strong that market was. That's
right.
when people were paying 30, 40, 70, 80,000 above list price.
That's the motorcycle market.
That was insane.
But eventually you hit barbed wire that's electrocute.
That does electrify you. Yes. And and so it's, and that's what happened. We had those incredibly low interest rates. We had shortages of homes.
Yes.
So, it just created a market that none of us had ever seen before.
Never.
What we're doing now is just racing back to normal. That's really what I call it. We hit 29 days on market. Normal for us is 50 to 60. Mm-hmm. So sellers were panicking when we hit 29 because we literally got down to 6 days at one time.
Right.
But the inventory levels for me are really a gauge of where the market's going to go. We're at about 2.31 months of inventory. We should be at 4.5, but 5.5. So we're still undersupplied.
And that's because of a lack of inventory.
Absolutely. We don't have the listings. And I don't see that changing soon.
So, but sellers, before you hear that and think, I'm going to just price up my home.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't do that.
Nope.
Because that's not working.
Too many buyers got knocked out.
Right. We're seeing huge price reductions.
Yep, absolutely.
And I just want sellers to be aware of this and buyers that there are more than 2 homes right now for every one of them that are going under contract.
Yep, yep.
So even though it's low inventory, the best home and the best price, best condition is still going to win out.
Absolutely. And what sellers are going to have to do now that maybe they didn't even have to do a year ago, you're going to have to stage. You may have to stage properties. You may have to do some things and fix some things.
Yes.
That a year ago you wouldn't have had to.
Right. And we bring inspection notices now that are longer than I've seen in years.
Absolutely.
So it's good to do the work up front.
Yeah, because buyers have the buyers do know that the market has changed, and they're not just going to come in and pay 50 over. You're really going to have 2 negotiations. You're going to have the original one,
yep,
and you're going to have the one after the inspection.
That is so true, Bill.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
And sellers, be aware of that. Don't be caught off guard. Just be aware and be prepared.
Absolutely.
That's part of the expertise. That's part of teaching and training. That's so important. I love to educate. I call it preemptive. Like you want to be preemptive and anticipate. You can't anticipate everything about this market, but what can be controlled by a seller is the condition of the property and the price.
And Cherise, that's what I want to tell your viewers. They need to work with you, which they know that. But the market's changed so fast that it's a totally different market than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
And that's why working with you, it takes a lot of load off. The sellers are, they may say, oh my gosh, it sold in 6 days a year ago and I was getting this. Well, that market's not there anymore.
Right.
So they need to work with you. They need to understand to follow your advice when you're going through because you're in that market every day.
That's right. And it changes every day.
Absolutely.
Let's go over a little bit of the end of summer stats.
Okay.
I pulled up the MLS today and we're at the end of September.
Okay.
And there were 1775 active single family homes on the market in El Paso County.
Wow, so that dropped down. That went down again because it was 2,400 not that long
Was
ago.
it? So that's just as of today.
Okay.
910 under contract and pending homes today.
Yeah, gotcha.
And 721 homes that have sold in the last 30 days. 60 homes, listen to this, everybody, 60 homes have gone back on the market.
Wow.
Over the last 7 days.
Okay.
So that's just in a week's time. Everything else, like 721 sold in 30 days, but 60 homes going back on the market over the last 7 days. A lot of homes go back on market after they go under contract. That's why you want your condition to be pristine up front. And the average price of a home, as far as the end of August stats, even though you're going to probably hear this podcast in October, we only have the end of August as of shooting this. We're at 553, 959 for the average, 480 for the median. And Bill, you've kept a running average of this. So I'm not going to do the monthly, but the running average, you said.
Yeah, the running average, when we compare January through August of this year to January through August of last year, average is down about 0.8%.
Yep.
Okay, that's on a running average. Median is down about 2.5%.
Okay.
I think we're going to end very close to that. And the reason I do is because I think we're going to have more of a normal winter than, we used to have patterns. It was heavy in the summer and then slow down in the winters. And I think we're going to see that a little bit more this year. So my guesstimation is we're going to be very close to that. I think at the end of the year, we're probably going to be looking at maybe average being down 1%, medium being down maybe 2%.
That's not bad. If you consider this, that people are paying 3, 5, 10, 11% over list price.
Absolutely.
When the market was crazy.
Yes.
So if you see a tiny dip,
right.
This is like nothing compared to what it could be, especially with interest rates being so much higher.
And you said the exact right thing in that it's not that market that it was in. You're not going to get 50, 60, 70 over. We can see prices haven't gone down a lot, but sellers, please don't mistake that for you can still drive the bus.
Exactly.
Because that, you're going to give seller concessions now to buyers that you weren't given before. Your inspection items are going to be a ton more. So it's definitely different. And we're about 25% fewer homes year over year than we were last year. And our inventory levels are up. Actually, what's available for sale is up about 28%. Now, again, sellers don't take that as you're running the market, because you're not.
No.
We came from a market that was unreal. We're going back to real. So what this means is sellers, you're going to have to listen. You're not going to be able to overprice.
So sellers aren't driving the bus, they're sharing the bus.
That's right. You're letting people get on and maybe even take the wheel for a minute.
That's right. But if you remember that the end point is the destination, it's the closing.
Yep.
It's not about control. It's about giving up some of that control to get to the destination.
Yep.
And it's about being prepared. That's what I want to help people do. That's why we love the people that we work with. Let us help prepare you ahead of time so that you're not caught surprised at the end game.
Absolutely.
Of this.
That's, one of the reasons I do the stats every month is just to see and try to educate people on what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
And this market is not what it was a year ago. Totally different.
It's amazing.
But don't panic and say that we've dropped. This is nothing like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That was a very, very, very rough ride.
It was.
Yeah, because people didn't have the equity they have now too. People
That's
didn't
right.
have 2.5%, 3.5% interest rates.
You're right.
So there's, so we're, is it great? Not great. Because we came from a place that was a panacea.
Yeah. Is it great when a grain bag explodes?
It's not.
But
we got the seed in the drill and we got it planted.
Yeah. See?
Yep.
So we just adapt. We move on. And great people, great character, great homes, great decisions are still out there.
Absolutely.
And so that's the thing. And Bill, thank you, because yes, you've retired, but really you haven't, because again, you haven't expired. You're still tracking our numbers. You're still helping our industry along. You're still there in so many ways and capacities. And again, as we serve on boards together,
Absolutely.
There is nothing that I love more than sharing these experiences and real estate with you, because you make a difference in our community.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Cherise, like I said, I'm very proud of you, because I know this has been a scary deal.
Thank you.
And you have just been amazing. You're a rock.
Thank you.
So, yep, very cool.
All right. We'll catch you next time.
You got it.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you so much.